Hello and welcome back. So today again I am talking about the skills we need to develop to be effective parents, because again parenting comes with no handbook. It certainly doesn't. So we go into this area of our responsibility basically with a clean slate. We are fielding our way as we go in, especially as it relates to the emotional issues, not the physical care issues, because that we can all find in a book, and there is just an infinite amount of resources about physical care. But I'm talking about emotional stability and emotional well-being of a parent, which it is very significant, because we are always dispensing emotional outputs and we will get depleted. And since I'm talking a lot from my own life experience, I had a faith, so my faith was a huge part of my own stability and my own character building. It was also a determinant of how I approach my responsibility. Work, to some extent, how fulfilling that was, also had an impact. But I cannot emphasize the value of emotional replenishment. It is huge. So emotional self-regulation is one of the most important skills that we need as human beings, but particularly as parents, and particularly as parents to multiple children. It is a trying time, and we are always expending emotional energy. It never stops until your children are asleep, especially. It goes with every age, but maybe when they're younger and you're expending physical and emotional, it is a lot more taxing. So staying in control of our emotions is absolutely important to our own emotional well-being and how we portray ourselves in the presence of our children. So it is an area that in hindsight, I realized that I got a lot of support in from extended family, but also, as I mentioned before, from my faith. Faith was a very powerful tool all the years of my life. And we need to be confident human beings in charge of our lives, because we reflect this and we deflect this to our children. If we are, emotionally spent, it is reflected in the relationships that we have with our children. We're always tired. We're always lacking energy. We're not imparting confidence. So this is definitely an important skill that we need to build. And I say skill because in parenting, almost everything outside of physical care is cultivating a skill and a practice. So we have to develop mastery of our feelings and emotions so that we can portray ourselves to our children, and not just portray, but in real life, as emotionally stable and confident people. Yes, we say it all the time. Our kids drive us crazy. They drive us crazy. But we have to choose the appropriate response. Being positive. And that is challenging for all of us, because our lives have pits and they have mountains. They have peaks and they have valleys. And this is going to be reflected in our everyday lives, but we have to minimize the impact of those pits and those valleys. So again, we need to practice. It's practice. Just being positive in our outlook hanging around a positive group, an extended family, and building a positive tribe. And we leave behind the ones that are not positive. Sometimes we have to make that switch because it is eating away at our emotional energy, and we don't want to be creating a home culture where your children are watching you down in the dumps, so to speak. We want to be building a positive outlook and a positive environment for our children. So again, it is a practice and it is a change of mindset if we were never originally like that. But we have to create the mindset. We have to use practices that support that mindset, read books, share with other people who are going through the same struggles as you. If you see them remaining upbeat and mastering the game, you say to them, boy, how do you do this? Can I ask you something? Can I share with you? Because we all have a shared humanity. There is absolutely nothing that you and I are going through or will ever go through where we are going to be alone. There are other people who have already been in the same circumstances. There will be other people who are going to be in the same circumstances, and that is why it is so important for us to share with others, to reach out to others, extend a hand, and to pull on the hand that is extended, because we are never alone in any circumstance. Okay, the love response. I think I may have mentioned previously how, children can do things that are right out of left field and can be so embarrassing and, just shattering to the parent. But this is what it means to be an adult, choosing the right response. And the response that we need to choose in our relationships with our children, that relationship of unconditional love, is that we are going to choose the love response. And the love response is not going to say that everything is fine and you're perfect and you're not going to be punished. That's not what the love response is. But the love response is one that reflects kindness, it reflects gentleness, and the child is appropriately scolded in relation to the violation. But it's always important that we remember to choose the love response. I almost feel it like, it's like saying to yourself, love your neighbor as yourself. How, if I were a child and I did this, how would I like to be? How would I like to be reprimanded? And certainly we all want to be treated in a very loving and kind way. So we have to choose the love response, because the alternative response, and I don't like to use the word hate, but the more callous, for want of a better word, response is not going to get us the results that we want. It's not going to get us that reciprocal relationship that we want with our children at all. So the choice is binary. It's either the love response or the hate response. And we have to choose love as parents all the time. And it's, again, a response that we have to cultivate, and we keep cultivating it until it becomes a natural response for us. And it's not easy. Again, it's practice, practice, practice. Because parenting does not come with a handbook. Okay, so we assume the best in our children. That's the way we think about it. Assume the best in our children. Practice humility. As a parent, we don't always have to take on the I am always right shoes. Yeah, it's not always necessary. It really isn't. We often have to concede that. And in conceding that, we are trying to build up our children and affirming them despite the fact that we are not pleased with whatever they did. Discipline. Again, disciplining our children is something that we also have to learn. We have to learn the strategies that work, and we also have to learn what are in terms of the strategies we use in relationship to the consequences of the punishment. So discipline is also something, especially in a world where nobody believes in beating children anymore. I mean, that is so now antediluvian. So we have to consider carefully each child's personality, what strategies we use, and how effective those consequences are. And this is something we have to continually monitor with children based on their ages, because there are different strategies that are age appropriate, and there are many of those, and there is no shortage of information on how to assign punishment. But again, this is just practice, and we learn as we go along. But we have to seek the information, because we are seeking information so that we can transform our homes and we can transform our children and our families. Okay, I think the next one that I'm going to talk about is not something that when I was coming up as a parent that was really emphasized. And I'm not saying that it didn't happen, but in a world where children are bombarded with a million different interventions about what is fun and what is exciting, I think there's a heavy burden on parents to cultivate in the home and the family life a culture of enjoyment, family life as fun, doing things together, setting the tone for fun and play as a collective, because play is the work of childhood, and it's something that I know from my life, I often look back and say that I was able to face the world and the challenges because I had a wonderful childhood of running up and down in the summer holidays with cousins, going to the beach with my mom, eating snow cone, eating puddings because she was a baker. So we had a food culture, a seaside culture, a fun culture of always being around extended family. So I had a super healthy culture of childhood environment. It was really, really exciting. And I look back at it even now and think that was probably the most significant part of my childhood, certainly the most impactful, that extended family culture. It was absolutely wonderful, and it has served me well. So, having fun time with your kids, it's very important. It's like setting aside a we time with your partner. It's the same. You're setting aside a we time with your children, whether it's playing board games, whether it's going out to the park for a picnic, whether it's a day at the beach. But fun time, enjoyment time is to be cultivated, because it is a time for the parent or parents to humanize themselves to their children. It is a time when you can show your humility. It's a time when you can do silly things that makes your children believe you're human and you're not just this parent who is dropping them to school, picking up, doing homework, and all the not so fun stuff. So this is one area where I would highly recommend to parents in these really trying times to cultivate an ongoing fun culture in your home and have a designated time or a designated day of the week to get this done. I think it is imperative that we cultivate this so that children understand that a family that prays together, plays together, and stays together. See you next time.